Hello, Suns fans. Welcome to Suns Latest. I am Rich Rubin, and as of this recording, 698 Suns subscribers to Suns Latest on FanArch. Thank you very much. Thank you for your comments as well, and thank you for subscribing. Let's get this one going. Quote of the day, quote, "Winning is fun, sure, but winning is not the point. Wanting to win is the point. Not giving up is the point. Never letting up is the point. Never being satisfied with what you've done is the point," end quote. That is from the legendary Tennessee Lady Vols coach who won a lot, Pat Summitt. I actually ran into her and Taurasi in LAX on the way to Phoenix for something. And before I said hello to Taurasi and shook her hand, I wanted to go up to Pat Summitt, and I did. I just said, "Hey, you're a huge inspiration and you're a great coach." And I just wanted to say hello. She was totally cool. She passed away in 2016. That lady won a ton of games. That lady was fiery and fun and understated all at the same time. And I think that's what, you know what she's talking about? She's talking about the journey. Yes, the final win, all that stuff, it's really important. But wanting to do it, putting in the work, as Larry Bird would say. I knew I was better than everybody. I'd put in the work. All the great players, all the great coaches, very successful people, they let the victory speak for themselves. But they do talk about the journey and putting in the work. And Pat Summitt definitely had a lot of that going on. So pretty darn cool quote. Let's see. Oh, a former Sun is in the news. And I'm happy for Cameron Payne. I'm bummed that he's not going to be on the Suns. He latched on with the papers with a training camp contract. So he's not 100% with them. I think this is one of those Exhibit 9s where he can get up to speed with training camp and see what happens later in the season. Since Halliburton is down, I know they need at least one more backup. And whoever their other point guard is, I can't remember his name right now, it escapes me. He just went down. So they definitely might be relying on Cameron Payne sooner than they thought they would. Happy for him, as much as I wanted him back with us. I think we're going to be fine with Butler and Goodwin and Gillespie. But I think we're good. I still am really high from that preseason game. Also, 2017 NBA MVP Russell Westbrook not going to be on the Suns, which is a good thing. He will have an 18th season signed with the Kings 2 days ago, according to his agent Jeff Schwartz of XL Sports Management. Brody is 37. Kings maintain contact with him all offseason. The Kings are in that weird spot where they have all these good players, but they're all past their prime except for Sabonis. Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan can still fill it up. They're two really good all-star players. They're just not the right fit. I don't know if Westbrook is a good fit with them. They're all kind of the same type of guy. They're not the same similar player, but they all do the same kind of thing. But Westbrook, if you can get it through his head, to be a point guard and pass first is incredibly valuable even at 37 years old. Brody had a good season with the Nuggets last year. Top 10 and 6 man of the year voting, played 75 games, started 36 times, 13 points, 6 assists, about 5 rebounds, 2 points, 2-point percentage, field goal percentage, 2-point field goal percentage was 52%. If somebody can get it through his head that even if he's wide open, don't shoot a three, he could actually be a really valuable player. The Kings will be his 7th team. I'm happy for Brody. He's always been fun to watch. Again, pretty happy that he's not on the Suns. I had an interesting thought watching the last couple of preseason games, and we talked about defensive schemes, and we talked about, well, you know, the Suns don't have Kevin Durant, the Suns don't have Bradley Beal. Yeah, but we were terrible last year. We were terrible last year. There was no team going on, and at the end of the day, basketball is a team sport no matter how many superstars you got. And if the superstars don't mesh, it doesn't matter. And the Suns proved that last year. 2 top 10 scorers in the league, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. We're running over the league offensively, and we didn't win 40 games, and we didn't make the playoffs. Proof. You guys got to mesh. So I've been thinking about this since we traded KD and dumped Beal. We replaced them with Dylan Brooks. Far and away a superior defender than either of those guys. KD is an adequate defender. I always thought he was underrated as a defender, but he's definitely not a game stopper with his defense. His offense is otherworldly, so why would you waste his energy on defense? But we got Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green and a bunch of other guys, but these are the 2 name guys that came over in the Houston trade. Jalen Green, once he gets playing, he's still out until at least the 2nd or 3rd game of the season with an aggravated hamstring injury, is just as effective, if not more, than Bradley Beal ever was with the Suns. Now, I know Beal averaged 17 points, but they were those weird kind of points where you're like, yeah, fine, we're losing, yeah, fine, but I don't know, he was so one-dimensional with his game. Jalen Green can definitely get you 17 a game. So the best part is Coach Ott clearly will not allow ISO ball on this team. Maybe for a clear out for Booker if we need. Other than that, think about it. We got rid of Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, and we got Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. As the year goes on, no one will be faulting us for the Kevin Durant trade. No one will. Let the critics diss our team. Let the critics dismiss our team. Let ESPN drag us all they want, repeat the same thing over and over about us because they can't seem to find anything else to say about us except, well, they stretched Beal, so they're screwed on the contract, and they don't have draft picks, and they lost Kevin Durant. It's like, yeah, we got rid of all these things that were helping us get to almost 40 wins and not make the playoffs. But that's all the critics got for the Suns. I'm hoping. You know what? I don't hope. I hope they ignored our preseason games too. I'm hoping by the All-Star break, somebody's like, we should have been paying attention and not saying so many bad things about the Suns. We're going to be better than last year. We're going to surprise a few teams. No one knows that except us. And when they play us, they'll know it. And that is an advantage. And that's pretty exciting. Real quick, before we get to all of your comments, I read a Bruce Lee quote recently, and the amount of comments about Bruce Lee is incredible. Bruce Lee has a lot of people thinking about stuff. The second you mention Bruce Lee, you talk about the movies, you talk about the legend, you talk about the dragon, all the things that have to do with Bruce Lee. Martial arts, his street fighting, how he came up, which movie fights were real. And I said a few things about Bruce Lee regarding the athlete versus the martial artist. And I knew saying that I was going to get a ton of comments about, no, here's what he is. Everybody has their opinion. Everybody has the truth about Bruce Lee. That's fine. But I'm going to leave it to you to discuss amongst yourselves, which you already started doing in the comments. Otherwise, this is going to become Bruce Lee latest. And as much as I love Bruce Lee, we're going to move on. So Michael Lockhart, in 93, I was at work and a coworker told me that the Barkley trade happened. I was thinking about that because I knew that Barkley wanted out of Philly. I just didn't think he would come to Phoenix. Originally, I was bummed about losing Hornacek, but I was positive that Chuck was going to try to bring home a championship. I guess I was just trying to forget about Jordan. Interesting. Charles Barkley came in as the second greatest Sun of all time and the single greatest season for a Suns player in Suns history. That's hard to argue. At Relax Russell, I hope I got your name right. I replayed for my father the portion when you spoke about Barkley. I love the way you worded him, having been, quote, constantly applying for another 10-day contract. Everyone knew who he was. He took over the whole state, end quote. It's very flattering to be quoted. Thank you for that. Yeah, Barkley played like that. Barkley played like he was going to be cut at halftime. So he played harder every minute of the game. People who didn't live here at the time, this is back to Relax Russell. People who didn't live here at the time just can't grasp what 92, 93 felt like as a Suns fan. We love that man so much. We threw him a parade when we lost, and halfway through the parade, they had to pull him out of the motorcade because he was going to get affectionately hugged to death by his fans. The poor car got an awful broken windshield by the Chuck Craze mob. I didn't get to see him because I was closer to the end of the parade route. While I never got to brush sides with Charles, he claims he'll be buried here. He lives in Paradise Valley. He still lives in Phoenix. And I guarantee you there will be pilgrimages by the ones that knew 1992, 1993, Arizona and the Phoenix Suns. May roads be named Barkley and statues be erected in his honor by a 13-year-old Phoenician in 1993. Man, can you imagine being 13 years old, a Phoenix Suns fan in 93, and the Suns get Barkley? You lucky dog. That's a beautiful tribute to Charles Barkley. And yeah, he had that impact. He had that impact. He was very special. Amazing memory. He really took us over. He really took over through sheer personality, hard work, and utilizing his talent. No one worked harder than Charles Barkley. Chuck will always be regarded as the best of the best. The energy inhaler. Now that's a handle. There's no reason the Suns can't contend this year. Hey, look, I'm biased as the next guy, but come on. Contend will be fun. We have a few years to decide if we're going to contend. Anonymous Rex, responding to the energy inhaler. Contend for what? If you're saying that they are title contenders, I would say you are much too optimistic. I'd say 45 to 48 wins, which I also think is pushing it, but I'm okay with that. I love the optimism. I'm not sure if we're in the Western Conference Finals or the semis. I'd be very happy with the play-in berth or making the first round. But from what I've seen, we'll for sure be better than last year. We're going to kill a few Giants during the season. We're going to surprise some people. We will get spoken about. And ESPN and all the other major sports media outlets will change their tune on the Suns. As somebody said yesterday, it'll be an exciting and frustrating year. It's exactly how it's going to go. Either way, it's going to be fun with all the young guys in book looking to remind everyone who he can be. Hammered on PHX, hands down the best preseason game I've ever seen. Go Suns. Jared freaking Butler, baby. I'm Jordan freaking Goodwin as well. Leo Jones, 22. Hello, sir. Don Boozy. Oh, yeah, I mentioned him. He was an earlier Suns legend of the day before we started doing the top 15. A tough All-NBA defender, two-time first-team All-NBA. Defensive, who started alongside Westfall. Don could also shoot and penetrate, and great steals guy. Boozy is one of my personal all-time favorites. Love Don Boozy. The Suns suddenly have heart again. That is according to Metallica. Absolutely, man. Oh, my gosh. I have to plug in this computer, or we're not going to have any pictures. So bear with me one second. I don't want to lose this whole broadcast. So we're going to get to, I'm just going to keep talking. We're going to get to the Suns legend of the day. And somebody, and I can't remember who exactly it was, but brought up, hey, after you're done with the top 15, let's do like the hustlers and the dirty work and the gritty guys who played for the Suns, and let's do those kind of legends. And I was like, that's a great idea. Now, we have done guys before like that, like Don Boozy and I don't think we did Mike Bratz, but don't remember, but it was one of you that reminded me to do this. So thank you. And you also mentioned that P.J. Tucker would be one of the great hustlers of great all-time Suns hustlers. And yeah, he was the first guy that came to mind. So let's do it. Anthony Leon Tucker Jr., but his father called him Pop Jr., so it became PJ. 6'5", 245-pound combo forward, defensive specialist, corner 3 specialist. 5 years with the Suns from 2012 to 2017. He has, let's see, he's played for either 8 to 10 teams. I think with the Knicks last year, that was his either 8th or his 9th team. I think it was his 9th team because he had 2 stints with the Raptors. 5 years overseas, a year after he got drafted by the Raptors, most recently with the Knicks. Right now he is a man without a team, but at 40 years old, he still wants to play. Could be a great pickup after the All-Star break for anyone, really. He is a savvy veteran. He is tough, very smart, and he knows how to play in the playoffs. So just keeping it out there, something happens to one of our front court guys. Somebody goes down. I just remember years ago, another guy named PJ. PJ Tucker went to the Heat when the playoffs started as a free agent pickup. And boy, he was a really important part of one of their title runs before LeBron got there. So yeah, just keep in the back of your head. Started most of the season for us in 2012. Right away showed that no one would out-hustle him or get by him without a price. He was tough, hard-nosed, just understood the concept of what he was supposed to do on the team. As intense as any NBA player I've seen, always gave something the Suns needed. Incredible, instinctual, offensive rebounder at 6'5". But my Lord, did he know how to use his girth and his body, constantly out-hustling and boxing out guys that were taller and heavier. Master down low, simply smothered taller players for rebounds. They could not get over him. They could not go around him. He was that good. The only Sun to play all 82 in 2015, 2016. Total BS that he never made an All-NBA defensive team. He was always a top defender. He was as good as anybody defensively down low. And that seemed to happen to a lot of Suns players. Never really understood that. It's like, why snub a Suns player on the Suns because they were never always a top defensive team? Doesn't mean we didn't have top defenders on our team. PJ was one of those guys. Relentless and a total dog. We should all take PJ's example and apply how he worked and how he carried himself to everything we do. PJ Tucker is your Suns legend of the day. Hustler edition. Remember, put a pin in that. PJ Tucker may become the playoffs. If we need some veteran experience down low, we might pick him up again. Appreciate you watching. We are almost at 700 Suns subscribers. The Suns Latest here on Fan Arch. I'm Rich Rubin. Appreciate you watching, fans. Suns Latest, and we'll do it again.